Hi, welcome to video 109. This video is on ratio and it's scaling up this time. So keywords are scaling up, common ratios, LHS, RHS. They're the terms that we need to understand. So scaling up means you're multiplying. Common ratio is the multiplier that you would use to scale up. LHS stands for the left-hand side of the ratio and RHS stands for the right-hand side of the ratio. So the method states, if you know one part of the given ratio and the common ratio between the parts, you can scale it up. If you know the LHS, the left-hand side of the larger ratio, and the left-hand side of the smaller ratio, then divide the bigger number by the smaller one to get the common ratio between the parts. That's the number that you're going to use to multiply the right-hand side small number by to get the right-hand side bigger number. So multiply the right-hand side by the common ratio to get the right hand side number. The two ratios will always be in direct proportion. So first question, all we're being required to do here is not really use this method particularly. It is to find an equivalent ratio to the following. Okay, so just like equivalent fractions, we can just multiply by whatever number we want to. All right, but both sides have to be multiplied by the same thing to keep them in direct proportion with one another. All right, otherwise it's going to be out of proportion. So 3 I'm going to multiply by 2, just going to multiply both those numbers by 2 just because it's the smallest number that we can multiply them by. 6 to 14. All right, now I know some people say, oh, you can simplify that. Yeah, that is not the point of this. We are just finding equivalent ratios. All right, there are an infinite number that you could find because we could have multiplied by 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or any number that we wanted to. All right, and the same here, we're just going to multiply. I'm going to multiply this one by 2 again because it's just the easiest thing to do. 22 to 18. All right, that's simple, isn't it? 22 to 18. This one I'm just going to multiply by 10 because I think that's just easier to stick a 0 on the end of both those numbers. 140,250. All right, multiplied both the numbers in the ratio by the same thing. Equivalent ratios, easy peasy stuff. Okay, let's move on to something where we're going to have to use the method. And number 2, to make concrete, you need to mix 1 part cement to 4 parts water. I'm not sure if that's actually true. Work out the parts of the water needed for 6 parts of cement. So we're mixing concrete, 1 part to 4 parts. So I'm going to put cement and water as a ratio. I'm going to put the 1 part cement underneath the C and the 4 parts water underneath the W. 1 part to 4 parts. And then I'm going to put the 6 parts cement under there. Okay, now this is what I'm talking about. This is the method that you need to use. We're going to divide by something to get that. So 6 divides by something. It divides by 6. Okay, you could think of what multiplies by 1 to make 6, right? And you could go, well, that's multiplied by 6, and therefore you're going to multiply this by 6. But I like to think of dividing the big one by the small one to get that common ratio, and then multiplying it by that number. Okay, so we're going to need 24 parts of water. All right, that's the number that we found. So I'm going to write down 24 parts of water, whatever parts of water are. I'm not sure. So the third question, let's have a look at that one. Let's see if we can deal with this. So Ozzy, my mate Ozzy's got 800 cats. He runs a cattery. Some of the cats are black and the rest are ginger and white in the ratio of 3 to 5. The number of white cats is 135. Work out how many of his cats are black. So it seems quite a complicated question, this one, because there's 3 things going on. We've actually only got a 2-part ratio at the moment. So I'm going to write down, we've got the ginger and white, pick out the key bits, 3 to 5. So G to W is 3 to 5. All right. The number of white cats is 135. So 135. All right. And then we're going to look at seeing what that common ratio is. So we're going to go and divide the 135 by 5. And we might want to just do that in the bus stop method. All right. So let's actually write that with a bit of space to do the working out. So 135 goes inside, and this is a nice thing to be able to do. 5 goes into 1 no times. Cross it off, carry it over. 5 goes into 13 twice with 3 left over. 5 goes into 35 7 times. So we've got that common ratio of 27. We'd have to divide 135 by 27 to get 5. So we're going to multiply 3 by 27 to get 81. there are 81 ginger cats, there are 135 white cats. Well, the good news is the calculation that we can do now, we know there are 800 cats. We can add these two together. So 135 plus 81 is equal to 6 and 11 and that would be 216, and then do 800 minus the 216. Alright, so my working out is a little bit all over the place. This is the first thing that I did, this is the second thing I did, this is the third thing I did, and this is now the fourth thing that I'm doing. 800, can't do that, 0 take away 6 will be minus 6, so we're going to have to nick one from over here. That's going to become 7, that becomes 10, which we can then nick from. That becomes 9, and that becomes 10. So 10 take away 6 is 4, 9 take away 1 is 8, and 7 take away 2 is 5. So 584, that must be the number of black cats that there are. So there's a lot of black cats. 584 black cats. Alright, so you can see how this sort of skill can be applied in a much more complicated question where you've got to interpret the things that you need to do. If you're doing 4 things there, you should be getting 4 marks for a question like that. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed that video. Again, I've kept it as brief as I possibly can for you. Please do continue to watch them, continue to improve, and take care of yourselves. Look after each other. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.